Okay,
This is
let's
something
dive in.
every man
We're
over
tackling a
60
topic
needs to
today
hear.
that's pretty fundamental to male health, energy, confidence, especially as you get older.
Yeah, the connection between what you eat and, well, your vitality.
Exactly. It might sound simple, but the sources we've pulled together for this deep dive,
Yeah,
they really show just how much power you have, starting right there on your plate.
that's right. And for this, we've got a good mix. Insights from a men's health specialist, a urologist who's seen, decades of this stuff, plus hard science like a big review and meta-analysis from PubMed, and even practical guides from places like nutrition.gov. So a broad view.
And our mission really is to unpack all that. Find the key takeaways.
Right.
Figure out how everyday food, lifestyle choices, how they actually influence things like blood flow, hormones, and ultimately how you feel, your energy, your confidence. I think you might be genuinely surprised, actually, by the influence you have.
It's fascinating, too, when you look across these different sources, how they all seem to point towards one really foundational principle. And it starts with something maybe not immediately obvious. Blood flow.
Wait, blood flow, just general circulation?
Exactly. The specialist source, particularly, hammers this point home. Says healthy blood flow is everything, especially for, achieving and maintaining erections.
Right.
It's not just about desire or being in the mood. If the pipes aren't working, if those blood vessels don't open up properly, well, it just won't happen effectively.
Okay, so here's where it gets interesting with aging and diet. Why does that blood flow sometimes become an issue?
Well, the sources point to this key molecule, nitric oxide, NO.
Ah, nitric oxide, okay.
Think of it like the signal. It tells the muscles in your artery walls to just relax, expand.
That's
According to
vasodilation,
research from
right?
That's it.
PubMed and
Like
Cleveland
opening up
Clinic.
the highways so blood can surge through, including, crucially, into the penis for an erection.
Things can interfere with that, yeah.
Years of maybe not so great food choices, chronic stress, maybe not moving enough.
Yeah.
It takes a toll.
Yeah.
Specifically on the lining of the arteries.
The endothelium.
Exactly, that delicate inner layer. It's vital for making nitric oxide. When it gets damaged, NO production drops.
So the vessels don't open as easily.
Right, blood flow slows down. And over time, that can mean weaker, less reliable erections.
So it's often not just age itself, but more about the circulation aspect being compromised.
Precisely. That seems to be a key message. And look, healthy blood flow isn't just about erections. It benefits your whole body.
Makes sense.
More oxygen, more nutrients getting everywhere, supports your heart, might make your brain feel sharper, boosts energy, and, impacts confidence because things are working better physically.
Right, so blood flow is the bedrock. What do the sources say we should be, eating to support it? Food seems like a massive piece here. The specialist called some things nature's boosters.
Yeah, and right at the top, vegetables rich in dietary nitrates.
Okay.
Your body's really good at converting those nitrates into nitric oxide.
Like spinach, I think I saw that mentioned.
Absolutely. Spinach is highlighted. Powerful source. Easy to add to things, too.
Yeah.
Plus, it's got other good stuff. Magnesium, folate. They help out, too.
Yeah, the specialist shared that story, didn't he, about the 68-year-old engineer. Started having a daily spinach salad, noticed improvements, energy, even morning erections returning. That's pretty compelling for a simple change.
It really is. But even more potent, apparently, are beets.
Beets, really?
Yeah, described as being packed with even more dietary nitrates than spinach. The effect on vasodilation, on opening vessels, is apparently so significant. One source compared it to how certain medications work, but naturally.
Wow. That's quite a comparison.
And beets also have something called betaine.
You don't need pills, you
Seems
need
to help
these
protect
4
that
daily
delicate artery
decisions.
lining, reduce inflammation.
Interesting.
And the anecdote there was striking too. A 72-year-old grandfather wasn't getting much from pills.
Right.
Starts drinking fresh beet juice daily. Sees remarkable changes. Energy surge, clearer mind, firm erections back. And you can roast them, steam them, juice. Versatile.
Watermelon also got a mention somewhere, didn't it? As having NO-boosting compounds.
It did, yeah. Another one to consider. But it's not only about the nitrates, The sources list other foods that help circulation in different ways.
Okay, so other mechanisms are involved.
Exactly. We're talking antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds, things that protect those blood vessel walls and help them work smoothly.
Like what kind of foods?
Well, pomegranate comes up. Rich in polyphenol antioxidants, also has some nitrates. Helps blood flow, oxygen delivered.
Okay.
Onions, flavonoid antioxidants, anti-inflammatory.
This is something every man over
help
60
arteries
needs
widen.
to hear.
Garlic, too. That's a classic one for circulation, isn't it?
For sure. Those sulfur compounds like allicin They can help relax blood vessels, maybe lower blood pressure a bit. One source mentioned a study with garlic powder improving blood flow in people with heart issues.
Right.
And the list goes on. Cayenne pepper has capsaicin, might stimulate NO release. Spices like cinnamon, turmeric with its curcumin cited for supporting blood flow, potentially reducing inflammation or blood pressure.
Citrus fruits, loads of flavonoids there.
Yep, protect arteries, boost NO. Tomatoes might help block an enzyme that constricts vessels, the ACE enzyme.
Ah, yeah, involved in blood pressure.
Berries, antioxidant powerhouses, fighting inflammation. Ginger's linked to reducing high blood pressure too. It really shows how a wide variety of plant foods chip in.
So yeah, focus on those nitrate-rich greens and beets, but don't ignore the others. It's about variety for overall vascular health.
Exactly. Building those healthy circulation highways.
Now, it's not just blood flow, is it? The sources also touched on other factors, like hormone balance. That's huge for vitality as you age. Asparagus popped up there, which was interesting.
Yes, the specialist specifically pointed to asparagus. Seems it supports sex hormones, especially testosterone.
How so?
Good source of vitamin E, sometimes called the sex vitamin, involved in making hormones and folate, which actually helps make nitric oxide too, so it connects back.
Huh. And it has that natural diuretic effect, maybe reducing strain on the system.
That was mentioned, yeah. Potentially less strain on blood vessels. And there was that anecdote too, the retired Navy vet.
Right, felt clearer, lighter, more alive after adding steamed asparagus regularly.
Protein also gets called out as essential, especially by the government guidelines. You need it to prevent muscle
According
loss
to
as you get
research from
older.
PubMed and Cleveland
And the
Clinic.
sources emphasize getting it from varied places, not just lean meats, but like seafood, soy, like tofu or fortified soy milk, low-fat dairy, beans, peas, lentils.
Right. And didn't the big review mention high-protein, low-fat diets showing some improved function scores?
It did, yeah. In one study, they looked
And
up.
nuts and seeds, they kept coming up too.
Part of those healthy eating patterns, good fats, protein.
Yeah.
And the meta-analysis specifically linked eating nuts with lower ED risk.
Whole grains too, listed as important for older adults and part of those beneficial diets.
Yep, all part of the healthy pattern.
Even with all these great foods, the specialist made a point that seemed really critical, like a potential missing link for a lot of guys.
Ah, yes. Vitamin D3,
Right. We think bone health, but it's more than that.
much more.
Yeah.
The sources really stress its vital role in making testosterone and in regulating those same nitric oxide pathways we were just talking about.
So it helps the other stuff work better, like a catalyst.
That's a great way to put it. It's like a necessary helper. Without enough D3, you might not get the full benefit from the healthy foods.
And this is a particularly big issue for older men, isn't it?
Absolutely. As we age, our skin just doesn't make as much vitamin D from sun exposure. Significantly less.
Wow.
Plus, we tend to spend more time indoors, so deficiency becomes really common.
And low D isn't just about vitality. It's linked to low energy, heart problems, cognitive stuff, depression.
All of that. But specifically for vitality, the specialist noted how often it's this hidden factor. He described patients, eating well, exercising, but not seeing the results they wanted until their low D was found and fixed.
So how do you get enough sunshine?
Yeah, sunshine is the main natural source. About 15-20 minutes of direct exposure can help. Supplements are an option too, but
Talk to your doctor first.
always get tested. See what you actually need. Don't just guess.
Okay, so it's really clear it's not just about picking one or two superfoods. It's got to be about the whole pattern.
You don't
right?
need
The
pills,
habits.
you need
Exactly.
these
That
4
big
daily
systematic
decisions.
review and meta-analysis, that's what it really drives home. They looked at overall eating styles.
What do they find?
Plant-based diets, low-fat diets, diets high in fruits, veggies, nuts, and especially the Mediterranean diet. They were all consistently linked to lower ED risk and better function.
The synergy again, how it all works together.
And they also found combining a good diet with exercise. That was particularly powerful. Makes sense, really.
Yeah, definitely. And the Mediterranean diet often comes up as a good model, doesn't it?
It does. It's well-researched. Focuses on whole, unprocessed foods, tons of fruits, vegetables, beans, nuts, seeds, olive oil as the main fat, moderate fish and poultry, less red meat and dairy than, say, a typical Western diet.
So that covers what to include. What about things to limit or avoid? The sources were pretty clear on some of those too.
Oh, yeah. Added sugars came up a lot. The specialists linked them directly to low testosterone. So sugary drinks, sweets, cut way back.
Okay. What else? Saturated fat.
Huge one. Mentioned across multiple sources. High in things like fatty red meat, butter, cheese, fried foods.
And why limit it?
Because it directly contributes to atherosclerosis, that plaque buildup inside your arteries.
Ah, clogging the pipes.
Exactly. Which massively increases the risk for both ED and heart disease. They often go hand in hand.
Now, just to be thorough, one source did mention a nuance there, right? About certain types of red meat maybe having some benefits?
It did, yes. It offered a slightly different perspective, suggesting some components might potentially help blood flow or testosterone.
But the overall consensus from most other sources?
The overwhelming emphasis, from most other sources, was definitely on the risk from saturated fat, particularly from fatty red meat and fried foods, because of that direct link to artery plaque. So we're just presenting what the different sources laid out.
Understood. What else to watch out for? Sodium.
Yep. Especially from processed foods, where it's often hidden. High sodium intake is strongly linked to high blood pressure.
Which is a big ED risk factor.
Right. Better to flavor foods with herbs and spices.
And alcohol.
Excessive alcohol, especially long-term heavy use, that can damage both blood vessels and nerves. Definitely contributes to ED. Moderation is key if you drink at all, consistent with general health guidelines.
So generally, steer clear of heavily processed foods seems like a good rule of thumb.
It's a solid strategy. They tend to be lower in nutrients and higher in all those things. You want to limit sugar, unhealthy fats, sodium. Focusing on whole foods tackles multiple issues at once.
Makes sense. And beyond diet, the sources kept reinforcing other lifestyle habits. Exercise, obviously.
Crucial for blood flow. Healthline called it crucial. And the specialist even gave that simple, actionable tip. Just 20 minutes of walking daily. Keep moving.
Keeps the vessels happy. Sleep, too.
Deep restorative sleep, aiming for 6.5 to 8 hours was the recommendation for vitality.
Stress reduction. Important, too, I guess. Affects blood pressure.
Definitely. And quitting smoking. Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Huge risk factor for poor circulation in ED.
And weight. Maintaining a moderate weight.
Key point across the board. Being overweight or obese really impacts blood flow negatively, significantly ups the ED risk.
Okay. So when you put it all together, it's not really a list of don'ts, is it? It feels more like a message of potential, of control.
I think that's exactly it.
Yeah, it really hits home that you have significant power through everyday choices about food and lifestyle. And the really encouraging part, it's genuinely never too late to start making changes.
Absolutely. And these aren't just changes for one specific issue, right? These shifts support your heart health, maybe boost brain function, increase energy levels, build overall confidence. It's all connected.
Yeah, and the sources really stressed it's not about perfection. No need for drastic overnight stuff. Small steps, consistency, that's the key. Building habits that stick.
It's ultimately a message of hope, I think. Regardless of your age, there's potential for renewed vitality if you give your body the right building blocks and support.
So wrapping up this deep dive, the core message seems to be focus on nourishing your blood flow. Nutrient-rich, whole foods, especially those nitrate veggies, the antioxidant-packed
According to
ones,
research from
making sure you've
PubMed
got
and
enough
Cleveland
vitamin
Clinic.
D, adopting those healthy eating patterns like the Mediterranean style,
Right.
and weaving in those supportive habits, exercise, sleep, managing stress, it can all have a really profound positive impact on male vitality.
So maybe the final thought is this. If your daily choices about food and lifestyle can impact something as fundamental, as far-reaching as your blood flow, which touches pretty much every system in your body, what other areas of your health, your well-being, might you be able to significantly influence starting today?
What small change will you make?